Hi guys, welcome to our workshop. My name's Maria Echevarria Lang and I'm one of the chefs and the owner of Chato. Today we'll be doing albóndigas, otherwise known as meatballs. In our pack we'll have a already mixed up 50% beef, 50% pork, 600 grams of our albóndiga base. It's minced. We have some onion and garlic already minced and prepped for you. Some rice, socarrat rice, par-cooked. We have some spices, which include saffron, as a good Spaniard, for our rice. And we also have included some panko. It's my preferred electrocuted breadcrumb. And we also have sofrito, the base of just about every Spanish cooking. There are other ways you can make Spanish cooking. We're making it with sofrito today. You will require a pan for the rice, a pan for frying the meatballs and then cooking them with the sofrito, a bowl, that's to put the panko and just roll the meatballs in the panko, and a smaller bowl with some paper toweling, that's to drain the meatballs after you have fried them. Veggie oil for frying, olive oil for the rice, and salt, and that's it. So, okay, we'll start our cooking demonstration now. Okay guys, let's start with step one, panko. Open them up. There should be enough pancakes. They've been very, very well sealed. There we go, air's gotten into them. Put the panko in the bowl. Meat. The reason why we haven't rolled the meatballs, though I do have 6 portions here because I like them large, is you can do the meatballs any which size you want. Now, I'm going to cut each of these meatballs, so get 2 out of each one. Just roll them lightly, make them into mini balls, and throw them into the panko. So, the serves we make here are large, so people can share. This will be good. So this will actually go better if you have it with some rice underneath. It'll just blend a little bit better. Okay guys, once they've rolled, you just want to lightly crumb them. And that's basically so you can get something to hold, roll them up. Now remember, the meatballs, you can roll them as big or as small as you want. These are very good actually with that sauce. They're also very good for pasta. We won't be providing pasta with it. So if you are going to do them with pasta, maybe even half the amount that you've got here. But for the rice dish, perfect size. Now what we'd have to do is fry them. Okay, heavy base pan, veggie oil, and for frying, veggie oil would be the best. Okay, wait till the oil is medium to high. Just put a couple of the breadcrumbs and you say no, not quite yet. So let it to be medium or high. You don't want the temperature of the oil to drop too much, because if it does, it will absorb, the meatballs will absorb quite a bit of oil. So medium to high, try one out. As you can see, starts to sizzle a bit. Now please do not splash anything into the oil, that's when you get burnt. All you want to do is seal them. They don't have to be brown. You just want to seal them so they don't break. Okay, once they're sealed, basically just take them out, and I like, as I said, to drain them. If you have another pan, they can go straight into the sauce from here. I like to drain them beforehand, just so you don't put that excess oil that your body doesn't need. Not that you can tell from me, but yeah. As you can see, all they have is sealed. You don't have to brown them. You want them to cook in the sauce, so the sauce and the meatball become one. You don't want them to be already cooked and then go tough. The next step is quite simple. Basically, open the sofrito, put it in, and we can put the sauce in there. Also, the water will give you that extra bit of liquid that you will need for the meatballs. So you can see we have put a little bit of basil in here. You can put oregano if you want. So herb is up to you. I really like basil and I really like thyme as well. Now the sofrito already has thyme, so this has basil on top. The sauce already is with a little bit of salt. It's entirely up to you if you want to salt it anymore or not. I wouldn't touch it. It does not have pepper. I'm not a pepper lover. So if you want to add a bit of cracked pepper into it, please by all means do so. Turn it up. Once it starts bubbling, as you can see it is bubbling, that's when we add the meatballs and we let it cook. Now you don't need to do this in a pan. You can also do it in a pot. And as you can see, there's also quite a bit of sauce for the amount of meatballs that we're doing it. There's two reasons why I've done them. One of them is obviously the sauce can be used and the meatballs with pasta. The other reason I'm doing it is so you can enjoy the meatballs with the rice, and then the sauce that's left over you can use with whatever you want. You can poach a couple of eggs in it. The meatballs giving it a different taste. So basically there's several uses. They're covered. Once it starts bubbling again, as you can see there, and everything has been covered up, we'll just turn it to a simmer and let it cook there for, let's say, about 15 odd minutes. Meanwhile, as the meatballs are cooking, we'll prepare the rice where the meatballs are going to be added to. Now for the rice, it's going to be what in Spain we call a wet rice. Let's say it's about a spoonful of oil. Also, that's when our onion and garlic, this can be omitted if you don't like onion or you don't like garlic. Personally, I have onion and garlic in just about everything and anything I eat. Don't want it too hot, but you want it hot enough. I know some people prefer to cook their garlic first or their onion first. I've put it both together and you just slowly cook it through, mix it, because from being vacuumed it's a bit compressed. Mix it through, not till it's brown, but till it's at least translucent, kind of poached almost, still poaching. See, we don't want to brown it. We just want the flavours to come out. This will take a couple of minutes. Okay, that's almost ready. As you can see, I've done it on a lowish heat because I didn't want it to brown. You're quite welcome to do it on higher heat and brown the onion and the garlic if that's what you wish. I prefer mine slightly poached. Okay, now this is when we put the rice in. Now this is what we call in Spain a wet rice. This rice is being par cooked, as I said, and it's enough for about 2 to 3 people. Okay, the first thing you do is you blend the rice with the yumminess of the onion, the garlic. Make sure the rice is coated. Now I like to add my salt to the rice now. So you can see I'm coating the rice with the oil. I don't know if you saw our last workshop, as opposed to, so I'm putting the rice and the salt in now. But as opposed to the paella where I said please do not stir, with our wet rice we do stir. We want the starch to come out. We also want it to come out a little bit creamier, not as dry, so it'll have a little bit of, not sauciness, but wetness. I guess you'll see when I see, you want to see, it won't be as looser as what the rice is in the paella. And now, as opposed, this is just some water with the spices. And as opposed to the paella where you put all the stock in at once and you let the rice sit, with an arroz caldoso, what you do is you add it a bit at a time and you let the rice take in as much of the liquid as it needs at a time. So with an arroz caldoso, as opposed to a paella, as I said before, you do stir the rice and you add the stock a little bit at a time and you keep stirring the rice until it's cooked enough for you. If the liquid I've provided is not enough for your tasting, just add water. You can add stock if you want to it, beef stock, chicken stock. As I said, I like my rice to just have that kind of garlicky, oniony taste, very subtle, because the flavor is going to come from the meatballs and the sauce. Once the stock's integrated, or in this case the water, add a little bit more. As I said, a bit at a time, you keep moving it just so it gets that creaminess from activating the starch in the rice. Now this will be a very similar process to what we use with any other wet rice in Spanish. We'll be having a workshop as well for arroz negre, which is a squid ink, scallop, prawn and calamari. Now in Spain, normally the arroz negre is just served with calamari. Our workshop will have other seafood in it. But the process for any wet rice, if you come closer and take a look, as you can see what you're trying to do, you can see that it's becoming creamy. I guess very similar to risotto in some ways. So you want to activate the starch. The more you move the rice, the more you activate the starch, the creamier it gets. Add the rest of the stock and I think it'll be done. As you've noticed, I haven't added any extra salt other than I did at the beginning, and that's basically because I know how much salt I like. And it's probably at this point when there is still some water, the rice still needs cooking. You can taste a little bit. Yep. And this is also a good time to see whether you want it to cook any further than what this water will allow for. I like my rice quite firm, but it's entirely up to you how much further you cook the rice. So you can see it's got a very creamy texture. And as I said, I will be providing enough water and spices for my liking. Okay, I think this is ready. I'm just going to let it sit for a little bit. At this point, you can add, if you want, some manchego cheese to it. You can add even some greens, a little bit of spinach and wilt it in. You can add 1,001 things. I'm going to leave the rice as is, turn it off and let it rest, and then we'll be ready to set up the plate. Okay, and now we're ready to plate. We have the arroz caldoso, and as you can see, as opposed to a paella, it's quite creamy. It has a little bit of juiciness to it. Spread it on the plate. Now I think that's enough for about 2 to 3 people, as I said, depending on how hungry you are. And then on top of the rice, we'll just place the meatballs. Put in as much or as little sauce as you want, or you can have some of the sauce, as I said, on the side. Okay, as you can see, as I mentioned before, there's quite a bit of sauce left. You can use this for another set of meatballs. You can use this to make another pasta with. You can use this for 1,001 different things. I also mentioned eggs to poach in the sauce. Maybe put some jamón serrano or grate some manchego on top. Awesome, ideal. So from this, you can actually get a breakfast dish as well. And another thing, you can grate manchego on top of this. It's pretty ideal. Now, all we do is each member of the family tucks from one side, and let's see. Very nice. Very nice. Very simple dish, great for winter. Very hearty, quite filling, and something that the whole family can share. Thanks guys, we'll see you in your next workshop.